Hello, hello, DC3. Are you there? Can you guys hear me?
Hi.
Hey, Sylvia, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm okay, but I'm in a rush. I lost track of time trying to get my kid to do something, and then I was like, oh my God, I have to go work. I ran down the stairs, and anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm here. I'm ready to talk about 3D CAD.
Mm.
How about you?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
All right, cool. How's that binoculars project coming along?
I have sent you my file.
You did. Okay. Well, maybe just tell me in words. How's it going otherwise? I mean, like, is it going well? Is there a problem? I will admit, even if you sent me your file, I haven't checked it yet. So, just
Okay.
real quick.
I think I have most part figured out, and I tried to mirror it, and it didn't work out. So I tried several ways, and I end up have to do some part, like redo it. So, but I'm in a pretty good shape right now.
Sorry, I had to mute myself because I'm sharpening a pencil for class. So you're not done. You know, guys, the deal with today is like we were hoping to see this thing kind of done. That would be the ideal place where you want to be for class is you want to get this thing like done and ready to show to everybody else in the class today. It's kind of your first example of being able to like share your screen and show me from your perspective how your file works. That's what I was kind of hoping we would do in class today. So would you be up for that, Sylvia?
Yeah,
Show
I'm
us where you're
up
at.
for that.
Talk to.
Right now.
Well, yeah, sure. I mean, you know, it's class and stuff. We're here. Let's do it. You up for that?
Yeah.
Send me the file. I'll take a look at it
Yeah,
on
I
my.
will share my screen right now.
Okay, let's see. Sylvia's like, I'm never responding again when he says hello to the class. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So this looks good from here.
So I did add this logo with the other graphics I have. Oh, I have a problem with my middle mouse button. It just won't work. So I'm using the up and down arrow key to move it around.
Okay, good. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
So I also add this like ring outside the logo, so because I saw the picture they have that on that, and also like two ring here.
Yeah, I did that. So, and you know, I did my own kind of version of that stuff as well. I think we're getting to the point now where the photos that we're working off of for this design are, you know, the details are getting kind of fuzzy and you kind of have to start making it up. So I'm happy to see the way you handled that. I mean, we don't have the ability to take measurements off of these photos really anymore, and it's kind of time for us all to put on the designer hat and sort of take charge of the model and sort of say, well, I can't really tell from the photo what I'm supposed to do, so I'm just going to do what I think is best. And so having the confidence to say, all right, you know, I'm going to do this instead of what I see in the photo. This is the time to pull the rabbit out of the hat, you know, and say, let me show you something.
And I also add that this fillets here, so it's the same way we did in this round logo.
Nice, nice. Very good. Very good. How about those side pieces? The three stripes on the side?
Oh yeah. So I did the way you taught me last class in the very end of the class, and I just mirror it in both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you scroll down to the bottom of your assembly file and show me,
Oh,
do you have any mates? Like, what's the situation
yeah.
with
I have a.
making?
You go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, like, what kind of mates do you have running on your file?
I have this mirror component. So for these the eyepiece and the lens and also the stripe. But for this one, because I figure out if I mirror it and if I remove the circle on this one, the circle on this one will also disappear. So I just redo another one for this one.
Okay. Yeah, good. I mean, that's an easy little piece to fix, and to make a revolve there is no big deal. Um,
Yes. So I just use the convert entity tool to convert the sketch for this one and just move it to here and do a revolve. So it's a quick move to do.
Nice. That's a good idea. You know, another way to do that would be if you put a smart dimension on this circle you used for the first one to get the measurement of what it should be, and then just go make a new sketch for the other one and just use that number and use dimensions instead of smart or instead of the convert entities tool. Um,
Yeah.
you know, this is like SolidWorks. You know, SolidWorks people, engineers, they love math and they love numbers and they love dimensions. And as designers, and myself included, I'm talking about myself now. I don't love math. I try to avoid it, like most people, I think. But and that's why I use convert entities a lot more than I use dimensions. Like for instance, if anybody in the class were to take a SolidWorks class at one of the SolidWorks resellers, like um, you know, if you want to buy a copy of SolidWorks, you have to go through a reseller. You can't buy it directly from SolidWorks. They don't sell their product to individuals. You have to go to some place like there's a company called Go Engineer, and they sell SolidWorks. And there's another company that's called Nove Edge, Nove Edge, and they sell SolidWorks. You can buy a license from them. And along with the licenses, these resellers will also sell like tutorials online, and you can also sign up for workshops, and you can go to their location and take a workshop intensive, and they say, oh, we'll teach you SolidWorks in 24 hours for, you know, $10,000, or we'll teach you SolidWorks over the weekend for this much money or something. And if I've been to one of these classes before at Go Engineer, and they teach SolidWorks in such a different way than the way I teach it in this class. So it's a lot more about dimensions, and it's a lot more about setting up relationships between parts and building mates, and building relationships between how things fit together, and a lot less about learning the techniques you need to know to build something that looks good. It's more about how to build something that works well when you learn it from other places. So um, just so you guys know that, if in case you ever find yourself when you're out of school and you're like, oh, I want to go learn SolidWorks again, I forgot how to use it. You go and you take a class somewhere, you're going to be like, Jim did it differently. So, so this looks really good. I think it's ready. Have you put it into Keyshot at all? Have you done any test renders or anything?
I put it in, but I don't have the finished rendering picture, because I saw like this dotted line here in the middle, so I'm like kind of worried about that. So I put it in Keyshot to see what's happened, and it turned out fine. It's just I don't know, maybe a glitch, SolidWorks.
Yeah, have you split those two parts in half yet? Did you put the part line in and cut it in half?
No, I haven't put the part line.
Maybe you could turn on the edges for the part, like up at the top. Yeah. Okay. And then if you go to the mirror tool, uh,
Mm,
in the first part on the tree, the binocular R4, yeah, if you edit that part and look down at the mirror, you should,
like the mirror for this one?
yeah, yeah. Let's see where that's at. There,
Here?
mirror 7, yeah. Um, I'm just wondering if you edit that part and then look at it normal too. Like if you maybe if you hit space bar, yeah. See if you can just look at it straight on from the top view. I want you to look at that seam and see if the seam overlaps with the blue part of the model.
Oh,
You got your arrow keys going. It's probably sucks.
yeah. It just suddenly didn't work. I don't know why. I don't think it's overlapping.
Yeah, it looks good so far. So if it's not overlapping, that's good news. That means it's probably just done super accurately. Anytime you see, you can exit out of that now. That's all I wanted to see. Um, anytime you see uh, like stuttering or spotted lines, we talked about this before when we were doing when we were doing the first blended boundary surfaces on the top, and we had that whole fiasco where if you didn't have the bottom surface um, shoot out from the rest of the barrel, it would overlap, and it would make this weird kind of like rash look with kind of dirty looking overlap marks. Anytime you see something like that, it's either one of two things. It's like geometry that's touching each other, um, just like at a 0 point, what they call a degenerate point, or it could be that it's just two surfaces that are very, 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 very close to each other. And so the graphics card actually can't decide which surface to show you, or it technically, from a mathematics point of view, can't calculate which surface is being shown, and so it shows both at the same time. It's like a glitch in the matrix. So when you I think all you need to do to finish this model off is probably take from the top view, I would go to that seam and I take about an eighth of a millimeter rectangle, and I would cut a hole through the whole body of these two pieces, so you get a part line where those two parts of the binocular come together, and that'll alleviate your problem of
Okay.
the line, and it'll look like an actual part line.
And also add a fillets on that, right?
Yeah, that's why I say do like an eighth of a millimeter cut, and then an eighth of a millimeter um, fillet on either side, because those fillets, they double up when you cut them, when you put them on both sides of something.
Okay, good.
Cool. How did it work with the center post, the thing with all
Okay.
the dots on it? Yeah.
Um, so I um I can show you. So I just basically drew the whole shape and did a revolve.
Cool.
And when I did it, I haven't mirrored the body, so I just trim the half, and then so when it mirrored, it also have the other half trimmed.
Oh, that's a move. Okay, cool. So you didn't do a revolve, you did a mirror?
I mean for the body,
Oh, okay. Okay.
for the body part. Because I have the half trimmed first, and so when I do a mirror for the body, the other half also trimmed.
Okay, good. That's good. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. I just wanted to see your file, and we're going to do this with everybody today. So if you're listening out there, get ready because we're going to just go down the list and show everybody's files. And then, what I want you to get ready for is like when you put this into Keyshot and you start to build a rendering for it, um, just make sure that you're comfortable with the idea that you might find some little areas that need extra fillets mostly or different adjustments that could look better. I want you guys to be comfortable with the fact opening your SolidWorks file, edit your SolidWorks file, and then update your Keyshot file. So this is the first class where I've felt like we've had a good enough handle on the program to do this kind of stuff where we have like a working Keyshot file and a working SolidWorks file, and we kind of use them both side by side um, to get the best result possible.
Oh, I do have a question.
Sure.
So in the picture, they have the this eyepiece a little bit up, and this one like close to the grip. So I tried to do that, but since it's a mirror piece, when I move it, the other one moves as well. So do you think
Mm.
should I do that, or I will just leave it like this?
You can do the move in Keyshot.
Oh, right. That
Yeah.
would be much easier.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, because I'm glad you mentioned that because um, I did it in my Keyshot file. I moved the one up because I noticed that same thing you did, and
Mhm.
I didn't even think about it back in SolidWorks. But we'll have to look again. That's a good point. Yeah, but just do it in Keyshot. You know the thing. You right click on the part you want to move. You go to move. You'll get the gumball, and then you just move it any which way you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. All right. It looks really good. Um, Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, you want to let me just check around and see. Let me show you guys what I've been working on. I'll show you guys my file. It's not too much different than anyone else's. I'll show you guys a few things. I'll show you my SolidWorks file, and then I'll show you the file in Keyshot and see how that goes. Just give me a sec for SolidWorks to open up here. Oops. Okay, so I'm almost ready. Hold on, guys. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Somebody
Yes.
says. Thank you, James. I knew it was going to be you. Let's see. I started out trying to make these really crazy renderings with like a chromatic lens ground plane. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today in class is how to make this really cool, like purple and yellow lens effect. It's actually a Photoshop effect where you make a graphic in Photoshop that has these colors, and then you paste it onto the lenses as a label, like you would do a logo in Keyshot. So even though these lenses are glass, I couldn't get the right effect with just using the glass. So I started this technique's actually from a guy named Tim Zarkey. he's pretty well known. John Mariello talks about him all the time because he learned Houdini through him, and he's the head render guy at Oculus. So he's a badass, and we all kind of chase him around whatever he does. So we'll talk about that today. But yeah, so I had realized that there's a bunch of kind of lens materials in Keyshot that you can use now, and they all have the same kind of purple and blue sort of glow to them. And so this was one of the first renderings that I made, and you can see how I make renderings, guys. Like, I have a lot of weird stuff going on in my scene, and my plan here when I make a rendering like this is to just crop this thing out like to exactly what I want. And so I will like make a rendering that looks pretty bad and then just take out the parts that don't look good and save a copy from there. So when I use this lens effect on the ground plane, it does give you this cool kind of like, gradiated background that goes from one color to the other. And then also this background matches the reflection you get in the lenses. So I put some solid time into Keyshot to try to build an environment that would match the effect I was giving in the lenses. And I felt like it was okay. The other cool benefit of this was that if you see here, the reflected light coming off the ground plane gives this cool kind of blue, purple, white glow. And there's kind of a pinkish glow happening up here and stuff. And so anyway, this is where I started my kind of like rendering journey with the thing. And the other thing that I did is I tried to get this textured material to sit pretty on this offset surface, and it came out bad. I mean, it does not look good. It looks really too grainy. I did futz around with the bump height a lot to try to get the bump height to show up. And I actually have two different materials in Keyshot. I have one material for the body of the binocular here, and then another one for this raised area with the bump and everything like that. This rendering, I did a setting for the render it was called maximum samples. It's one of the settings when you go to the render button. And it took about, I don't think it took a full hour to render, but it took about, 45, 50 minutes. Like, it was close to an hour, I think. And when I got the final results out and I looked at this, I was generally like not happy. Like, it looks, first of all, the purple and white background, in my opinion, looks a little corny. And even though it does achieve the effect that I thought I was going for, which was to kind of mimic the lens effect, it doesn't really do anything for the product. And then the other big thing that I found that I was surprised about was like the height of this offset surface here it just looks cheesy in my opinion. Like, it doesn't look sleek and cool, and it doesn't seem to add anything to the product. In fact, it looks more uncomfortable than it looks comfortable. So even though that's a big part of the design, when you look at the promo photos from the Vortex website, I'm not believing that I got it right when I was modeling the thing. And so this was like another kind of big insight for me. It was like, oh, I'm going to need to go back and like adjust the offset surface, go all the way back to this part and fix the model. Because in my opinion, it was kind of unexcusable. It just doesn't look good. The other thing that I noticed about my file too is back here, if you look at the swipes that I did on the side, if you guys remember, I had done circles where I did a circle at the back and a circle at the front, and I did a loft between them. And it looks like the circle on one of them was just kind of sticking out a little bit too far from the surface. So it started to dive back in on the surface, and it made this shadow right here. And that looks extremely hokey. And it also sticks out like a sore thumb to me because I'm always thinking about manufacturing and stuff whenever I'm doing a model. And, you know, I'm always thinking about like, I want to show my stuff to other designers and, you know, other designers, if you're putting out stuff that you know is going to hit the market, you're always thinking about like manufacturing tolerances and capabilities. And if somebody has undercut on their design, you call it out right away, like, oh, that's not going to work. And this stuck out as a sore thumb for me that like, even if this is a rubber material, like a silicone, or probably it's more like a durable, like PET rubber or something like that. Um, Even if it was tough stuff, having an undercut that was so large that it caused a shadow to show up right there, that would mean that when this thing got taken out of the mold, that the clarity of this feature would get damaged. And this feature's like, it's a noticeable thing. So, so I knew, again, I was like, okay, I have to redo this as well. So, there was quite a bit, I think, when I got this first rendering out where I was like, oh, you know, not looking good. It's going to need a bit more work. The part line looks okay, but it does look a little fakey. Like I could make that in Photoshop pretty easy with like, you know, a path and some paint bucket trickery. The other thing too about mine was like the edges here that I saw, like they're not picking up any cool little slivers of light the way I want them to. And the reason for that is because I didn't put any fillets on those. I left them sharp in my model. So I had that kind of as the call out to another thing. Also for me, like this logo here just looked extremely fake. It looks kind of photoshopped on as opposed to 3D CAD built in. And this was a part of the model where I felt especially like I really wanted this to either stick out or drop to the background. And in this rendering, it's not doing either of those things. Like it's clearly visible, but it doesn't look cool. And it also like, I mean, it's just not doing it for me. So I was like, all right, you got to go back to the drawing board at that. So, you know, I mean, I want you guys to, you know, just kind of hear me out as far as like the kind of things that are floating through my head when I look at a rendering from a 3D CAD model, because this is going to be your homework is over the weekend is to get your models into KeyShot, and we're going to do a set of 3 renderings on just the binoculars alone to finish them up. And so the moral of this story is your first renderings will tell you that you have a lot more CAD work to do, or they definitely should. If you look at your rendering and you think, oh, that's perfect, I'm not going to do anything else to my model, then I don't know, look again and do some more stuff, because there should be edits that need to be made, and some of them can be substantial. The most terrifying thing for me was this surface right here. I knew when I dove back into the SolidWorks model that I was going to be going back in time quite a long distance, and that was going to be the kind of thing that was going to, when I moved this surface back down, I knew it was going to cause issue with quite a bit of stuff. And it did cause me some stress, but nothing that was unfixable. Basically what happened is that I have a fillet running on this edge right here, and then I have another little microscopic fillet running on the bottom. So I have 2 fillets, 1 and 2. And when I move this surface back down, one of the 2 broke. On the inside surface here, it was the top fillet, this top one on this edge here that broke. But the bottom one stayed on, it just arced all the way up to the top. And then on this one, they both broke, and that caused a majority of the design tree to turn red and start yelling at me. And so I had to delete both the top and bottom fillet for the offset surface, and then reset it to something that would work. And so that turned out to be like some really microscopic fillets. I think for the first time in NEDC 3 class, I put a 0.05 0.05 millimeter fillet on these edges, which is a 32nd of a millimeter, which is, I mean, it's close to a nanometer. It's not enough to really even be visible by the human eye, but it is enough to change the look of the thing from being a hard stiff edge like this, like you see up here, to being something like that actually has a fillet on it. Like it just doesn't look like it has nothing. Um, so yeah, there you go. So take a look. Cancel. Let's see. Where am I? Okay, so I pretty quickly then changed. Let's see. Here's another one. Okay, so yeah, here's the cropped version. So this is the photoshopped version of that rendering I just showed you guys. So I put it into Photoshop and I adjusted the levels a little bit, and I forget which tutorial. I think it was from Will Gibbons, who I've talked about in class a few times. Remember Will Gibbons? If you don't, look up willgibbonsdesign.com. He's great. He gives the advice, if you have a good rendering in KeyShot, all you really need to do to it is throw the auto color, the auto contrast, and like the auto adjust features onto it, and it should look as good as it's gonna give you a hint at how good it could look if you keep working it. So that's what I did in this, and the auto color command in Photoshop really changed the look of the design overall quite a bit. I think that what auto color does in Photoshop is it kind of reads the whole scene, and it sort of picks up the most generalized version of what the overall color scheme is of the image you're looking at, and then it adjusts everything else, all the other colors, to kind of match with that. So for this rendering, the overall, if you were to look at every single pixel and kind of take an average, the overall thing is it's kind of got like a light blue sort of vibe going on. And so Photoshop added a whole bunch of light blue and purple to the highlights. And that changed the color of the green that I had made to almost like, you can see this is almost like a gray. And that's where I was like, okay, this is looking better as a gray than it is as a green. And, I'm not particularly married to the, army fatigue green that we see in this product. I'm not a, an army type person. I'm also not like a deer hunter or any type like that wants that color. And so I was like, okay, so again, moral of the story here, even though I could tell a lot from the first render, I still photoshopped the crap out of it to try to make it pretty. Like I still polished the turd as much as I could. And from doing that, I actually got this idea that maybe I should flip the color to like a black or a gray or something like that. Like maybe I should just bail on the whole color scheme that I see in the product. And so that was another big insight for me. The other thing that happened when I photoshopped it too was that this grainy texture material came out looking even worse than it did in the first run. So I bailed on that. I put that down in my notes after I was done photoshopping it, So this is kind of how I work. I'll do a rough pass, or I'll do a really complex KeyShot rendering. I'll analyze the crap out of it when it comes out of KeyShot, and then I'll put it into Photoshop and I'll try to tighten it up in there and see if there's anything I can fix in there. And along the process of those two steps, I'll get a laundry list of things that I need to fix in the actual CAD file, as well as edit the KeyShot. So yeah, so that's what happened. So that's that. Go back. So yeah, so let's look at the actual CAD file. So here I was. Here's my CAD file. I mean, Sylvia, since we've only looked at yours, I mean, one of the things I noticed about yours was that your lenses did seem to be like a little bit close to the edge of the barrel here. And, one of the things that makes these lenses look cool is that the lenses do drop back pretty far into the barrel. So you can decide if you want to adjust that or not, but there's just cool, there's a cool kind of shadow effect that happens from the overhanging kind of eyelash of the deep barrel. And then there's an opportunity to catch light on this inner surface that'll bounce back up into the lens, which can help with the lens effect later in key shot. So yeah, so since I talked about it a lot, I'll talk to you guys about. So this was the piece that I had to adjust, and yeah, here's how it went. I edit this part here, and I just click on that surface, and it brings me right back to the thicken command, right? So the feature that last was applied to this item was thicken. That was where we took the offset surface here, we offset the surface up, and then we thickened it back into the main piece. So by clicking on this part, I was able to identify where in the model I needed to go to get the fix. And so I was able to go back here to this surface offset. And the surface offset was pretty cool. Like it even came with its own little, it's really in a weird spot under here on the model. Like it has this little dimension here, which doesn't really even make sense, but still, like you're able to actually click on that dimension and then change it if you want by just clicking on the dimension. You don't actually have to go into the design tree and edit that feature, make the edit and exit out of that feature. New SolidWorks, 2020 SolidWorks gives you the option to change this to something like, you know, say 3/4 instead of a half, and then just edit that. Then the thing is, after you make that edit, you have to hit the rebuild button here. And that will, let's see if this explodes my model. Oh, look down here and look here. See this green bar right here, guys, down here in the corner? That's your rebuild button. Okay, so there goes the rebuild. So it offset the surface. And because we're going from a small state to a higher state here, it makes the offset pretty easy. And everything else comes along with it. The only thing, it looks like it happened again here. So when I did that maneuver, I broke a couple fillets. Okay, so I want to just show you guys what goes down because you're all going to go through this. You're going to find stuff you want to fix. You're going to try to fix it, and it's going to break other stuff in the tree. And in this case, it's only a couple fillets, so you just need to figure out where those are at and then just figure out how to fix them. So if I click on that fillet right there, let's see, where's that broken fillet? All I can see is the little icon. See, that little dimension is the only indicator you're going to get to which one it is. So this is what I was saying before. I had a 1/4 millimeter fillet running on this edge. And on this one, I had a 1 millimeter fillet, and neither of those are going to work now. So I just need to go back and I need to figure out, okay, what are, you know, what size fillets am I going to have to work with? So you saw before when I made the change to the offset surface, it was a 3/4 of a millimeter, 0.75. So clearly, if I had a 1 millimeter fillet running on the top and a 1/4 millimeter running on the bottom, that would be 1.25, which is bigger than 0.75. So we don't have enough space on this face here to put those two size fillets. So sometimes you can luck out and you can just edit the fillet that you want to change. You can just go here to edit fillet. And then other times it ain't that easy. You got to just delete it and start over. I'm going to edit feature here. Okay, and so you can see how this is going to look. Okay, so in my last throes of like teaching you guys SolidWorks, I just show you like what to freak out about and what not to freak out about. A lot of times in SolidWorks, you get something like this going on, you get weird dotted red lines like this. That could mean that you just need to delete that feature and add a new one. I think that's kind of the situation here. If you look at the list of items that this one fillet was affecting, it was quite a few. It's a dotted line here, it's a dotted line there. Actually rolls all the way around to the underside of the model. It kind of stops halfway right here, you know. I'm going to clear the selections. I'm going to change the fillet size to 0.125, which is an eighth of a millimeter. And then I'm just going to re-enter these edges in here, but I'm going to have to go around the entire thing. So I'm going to go that edge. You're waiting for that preview. And then you really want to check it around all of these edges, all these segments. So you got segment, segment, segment. You want to follow it around all the way to see if it's really grabbing onto the whole chain. So that was a pretty good one. And while you're here zoomed in, you could make it a little bit bigger if you want, or you could try to set it to curvature continuous, and that'll help you. And then the other thing I was going to tell you guys about was, how much my computer crashed. Oh my gosh. I'm actually not going to continue on with this little demo here because I don't want these changes. I'm just showing you guys as an example. So this will all be unsaved stuff. But let me exit out of the component here and show you guys. So here's my my center post. I added a whole bunch of detail that's not in the design just because I felt like I wanted it to look cool. So if you take these edges off and look at this, I just added this little cut here in the top, and then I did a circular pattern around that. That's just something from, I have this little German steel camera tripod from the 60s that I got from my dad here on my desk, and it's got these kind of cuts in it on the swivel that opens the tripod, and I just glanced at that and was like, oh, I'll add that, whatever. Doesn't look bad. In fact, it's almost microscopic, but yeah. So, but what I did here on this one is, on this piece in particular, this circular pattern, I crashed my computer, I think 3 times, and I lost work. I was going to send you guys a PSA, like a public service announcement, like everybody watch out for the circular patterns on the center post, because my computer actually froze in the middle of trying to calculate a fillet to the circular pattern. And I let it sit for 25 minutes. And after 25 minutes, I realized this is not going to stop. It's going to go, forever. Because I think I have 155 instances of the circular pattern around. And when I tried to add a fillet to that, it locked up. And so I had to shut down SolidWorks, knowing that I didn't save any of my work. So I lost some work, and it hasn't happened for, I think, probably 2 years. I haven't lost work, but I was just, I get excited about a model and I just go. And anyway, I just had to bite that bullet, and I had to tell my wife, I was like, I'm pissed off right now. And she goes, what? What's wrong with you? And I go, well, I lost a bunch of work. And, I was like, this happens. You never seen it happen, but it happens. And I get mad. And so, I had to give an explanation, but anyway, yeah, the moral of the story is, guys, whenever you're doing circular patterns in SolidWorks, just understand that is an opportunity where your computer could freeze. This is a lesson that I've been telling for as long as I've been teaching SolidWorks, and I don't know why I didn't remember it myself, but every time you do a circular pattern, save right before the circular pattern and then do it. Because if it fails, you can at least step right back to where you started. So don't be like me. This is my house motto. Don't be like me, and follow the advice here. I did end up getting it to work, but it took a few tries, and I had to shut down my computer and restart it. And I ended up taking this part here and here in the design tree, and I just went to open part, and I just opened it up in its own file like this, and that helped a lot. That was what it was that allowed me to actually make the piece work, was having it open in its own part file. just meant that when the computer went to rebuild the model and this feature with all the fillets on it, it only had to rebuild this little design tree, you know, which isn't very complex. It didn't have to rebuild the design tree of the entire assembly and all the other things, because that's what SolidWorks does. When you reset a tool, it'll literally rebuild your whole model. So up here in the front too, I was able to get this, and just like you, Sylvia, you know, I didn't follow any sort of rules. I have a thick band, I've got a thin band. I just tried to go with what worked. I did make some custom graphics in Illustrator to get this to work. I did not find the right font for the company, but I felt like I found one that was pretty close. I had a big problem on my DXF file where the tip of this D had overlapped into the arm of this H, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong, but I hand filleted each of these letters, and then when I got to the D, it wasn't working, and then I zoomed way in and I found out that it was just overlapped. And so I actually went into the DXF file and the sketch that was running the DXF file, and I adjusted it live with the extrude running and everything, and it fixed itself. So felt like that was a good one. So let me pop open Illustrator here. Does anybody not know how to draw text on a curve in Illustrator? Because I can show you what I did here. You guys want to see it? Guys, are you there? Somebody say something. I got to hear from you.
Yeah, I didn't know actually, but like later last night, I watched YouTube tutorials and I came to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I had to check it on Google as well. I mean, I've done it a million times for work back in the day. Like, gosh, when was it that I worked at Whammo? It was like 2008, so 10 years ago. Yeah, it's not hard. The only thing that was a little bit hard was how to flip the text so that it went the right direction here. So anyway, this is what I set up in Illustrator. It's not the best, but now that we're in here, you can see here the problem area that I didn't catch. So if you're out there and you haven't done those graphics yet, give them a try, but understand that doing the circular text, sometimes you can get strange overlaps like this. When I look at the outline, you can see this problem that I totally should have paid attention to, but I didn't, and I exported the DXF like this, and I got into trouble. So all you have to do to fix it is just something like that. All you have to do is just separate these things, your white arrow tool, get them to move apart. The edit that you make to this text will not be a big enough edit to the line work overall or to the font overall that anybody will be able to catch it. It's just to make the geometry proper. So yeah, so I would say that I kind of rushed this text. I don't like the font. I tried to pick something that was kind of in line with what we see on the promo photos, but I didn't get there. I mean, let's be honest, it's kind of a poor job. So just be aware that you have, sorry, I don't know why I'm opening Word. Back to SolidWorks. Yeah, so let's see, other stuff that I changed. Oh yeah, these things for me were a big issue, right? I mentioned that. So again, I did have to go in here. I had to edit this part, and I had to change the size of the beginning circle. I have this 2mm circle running on the first one that goes to a 1mm circle on the back. All I did is I just lowered the size of my circle because my circle I think was at 4 up here and it was at 1 down here. So I just made this thing a bunch smaller. On this one, again, yeah, this one's been changed down to 2, and then I had to change. Oh, hold on. Let's see what happens. It's gonna blow up. Anyway, I changed that down to 0.5. Let's see, did that work? Oh, that's stupid. I'm freezing my computer now. Okay, yeah. So those things needed some love just in Keyshot. They just looked a little cheesy. Yeah, other stuff that I mentioned that I did too. There was, fillets here that needed to happen on this edge. And then actually I didn't actually finish this in my final Keyshot file. I still need to. But one of the ways that I screwed up on my model, guys, was I have the outer eye cover here. And then I have the inner eye cover, which is this little piece on the inside. I had forgot to add this piece into my mirror component. So if you look at the two, I only have this piece on one side and not the other. So I kind of need to make that change, but I'm not going to do it now because I've got other edits that I don't want to save. So I'm not sure if any of you will make that mistake, but I'm just pointing it out as, something to look out for. Don't be like me. Pay attention to detail. And if you don't, then make sure to fix it. This was one of the things that I lost in my circular pattern mix-up. So I had to redo this a couple of times. This piece in my final renderings is, it's not too visible. Like it really gets kind of lost in the shadow of all of these other giant barrels and everything like that. So yeah. So as far as editing the part, I think that's about it. I did have an interesting kind of setup going here. If you guys look at my tree, I've got a whole bunch of custom colors that I added to all the fonts because I really wanted to be able to drag and drop in Keyshot to get my fonts able to change color with one drop. So that was pretty simple, but it took a lot of clicking. I was actually able in the end to just select after doing it the hard way and going one by one. And if you click on these balls in the design tree, just with your left mouse button, you click once, you'll get appearance, copy appearance, and remove appearance. So you can like remove an appearance like that, and then you can left click and copy an appearance and add it back by clicking in the blank space left over, paste appearance, and that will change the color back. You can also, it looks like it's not going to work, but you can remove appearances and add appearances to whole clusters of stuff in the same sort of way where you can grab a whole block of fillets like this, and you can go to the appearances beach ball right here, and you can change the color of all of them kind of at once like this. Click on that little beach ball. It'll bring up this thing here, and you can change all these to another color if you want. So you can see what that did. See, I had a big problem in my file too, where the fillets were not changing color to the same as the body. So I had to change just the fillets, and it was annoying. And so that's another thing to kind of watch out for. If this goes to Keyshot like this, it's going to look really funny. It's going to be pretty hard to fix in Keyshot. So this would definitely be the kind of thing that you want to watch out for here in SolidWorks. And if you find it in Keyshot, then go back to SolidWorks and fix it in SolidWorks and re-import your file right away, because having to like unlink and link materials in Keyshot, like with this sort of situation, these little microscopic, look at these fillets are like, 30th of a millimeter. So you'll never be able to get in there that close on KeyShot. The program's just not good enough. So this is the spot where you got to do it. So I'm going to very carefully shut my file down now and not save anything because I just made a whole pantload of edits that I don't want to keep. Let me shut down Illustrator and Word for some reason. Okay, so let's look at somebody else's file. I can obviously talk about my stuff all day, but who else wants to go? Does anybody want to show off their file?
Jim, could you open my file on your devices, on your computer?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I know what you mean by this. Let's see. Your latest email was yesterday, right? Is that right? Did you send me one for? I got your assembly right here.
It's like most tube and stage 5. This is the title.
Okay, cool. I got it right here. Hold on.
Yeah. Is that okay?
It's
warning.
it. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Okay. Good. These files all are very similar. You know what's cool about yours, Mo, is look at this from the side view. I mean, you really did a very big kind of, what do you call that? Like it's like the raise in the middle from the side view looks super good. And I think that's a really good job you did on that. It's got a much more kind of aggressive look from all angles. Like if you look at it from just that angle right there, how this line comes up like that and then drops back down. It's really got an aggressive kind of feel. It makes me want to do that kind of thing with my file because mine is really flat across the bar here. A little bit of a something like a little raise to it, but yours really, it's got a lot more of like a speed form kind of a look to it.
Dynamic, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I mean, this is such an odd product. I mean, it's like I've never really been hunting before, and I can't imagine that it's a very active kind of sport. I think you just sit around in the cold and like stare, be really quiet, you know? It's like this binoculars also, they're supposed to like go on a tripod so that you hardly touch them. So anyway, the fact that the product doesn't move around a lot or doesn't require a lot of attention, like means you should make it look as cool as possible. So having these little effects, like it's going to make it look good. So
Okay.
what part do you want to show off? Which part should I look at?
Not show off, but I do have a question. Like in the center, like when I'm making the tube, I make a new assembly file.
Okay.
So the last one, the mid,
This guy.
yeah, it's called knob or
Okay.
knob.
Knob. Yep.
Knob. All right. So how can I draw a hole go through in my main body? That's my problem.
You didn't get the hole in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, and it looks like you did do the cut through the middle. Is this piece here, is this its own thing, or is this part of?
A part of in the first file. The
Okay.
bonus are number 9.
Okay, let me edit the first one here. See what this is. So this is a boss extrude. I want to see if if it's merged in, so it's not merged. Okay, so that's its own little body. This little piece right here. Okay,
So
so
is that correct? No merge.
it's not supposed to be merged. Yeah, you're right to keep it separate.
Okay, okay.
The one thing that I would say about, sorry to get distracted, but this piece, see how it's starting at one side and going to the other side?
Mm-mm.
You could do, I think it would be, I think this is how I taught it in class though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was going to say another way to handle it would be set the extrusion to mid-plane and then have it go two different directions. But
Ooh.
I don't know. That's only if the curve was sitting right in the center
Okay.
of the piece. So anyway, don't listen to me. I'm going to exit. Okay.
No worries. Same thing.
Okay, so you want to cut a hole into the center of this thing. Let me
Yeah.
look here down at the knob file. And
Yeah, because I was thinking the knob file is individual and the main body is another individual. So they are not technically in the same file. So how can I cut a hole, go through in the middle,
yeah.
center? Yeah,
Here's what I would do. Okay, so you saw what I did. I've got the knob file. I'm not editing it, but I've opened it up and I went to the revolve and I went to the sketch that's driving
okay.
to revolve. Just so
Convert entity.
yeah, so I'll just do a convert entity in this top file here. So let's see. Do you have a plane that's sitting here?
Sitting here.
Here's what I'll do. Let me show you how to do it. So let's go here.
It should be
The
top.
plane. Yeah, if I go to top plane and I look normal to, and I'll just take a little tiny center line. There we go. I just want to get center one part of the knob. Okay. There's the center of that line.
Okay.
So these construction lines, and then I'll just trim off half of this. So I'm going to go to trim off half of this, and I'll trim off that. Now this point right here is in the exact center of this knob, but this construction line is in the other file. Get it?
Yes.
Okay, so that line now, what I'll do is flip it around so we can kind of see it. This front plane. What I'll do here is I'll just put a front, I'll pull a new plane off of this one. Come on, do it. It's always cranky. It's really thinking hard. Come on, do what I want. All right, fine. Don't do it. Okay. So I talked about this move before, guys, right? Where you have a line, you click on the body of the line and then the point of the line, and it will put a plane right perpendicular to that curve. So now this will be the working plane for us to do a convert entities on. So we got that plane hanging out right there. It's kind of small, you know, so sometimes it could be a little bit easier to just make it bigger so you can see what you're doing. So now that line is sitting right where it needs to be. We'll make a sketch on this plane. Here's our new plane. Let's make a sketch on it. There's our sketch tool is launched off now. So now we can go down here to the revolve from the other, again, so we can see ourselves do this. I'm going to go to this sketch here that's running that revolve down there. See that one?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do the convert entities.
Oh, okay.
And this thing makes a bunch of noise.
Yeah, I know. Just like the speaker project.
Okay, hit this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, okay.
So, all right, so that sketch now is right where it needs to be. And it's not in the old file, it's in the main file here. So now we'll just do a revolve cut.
Okay.
And we'll just take this as the center line and we'll do this revolve cut. And yeah, that's it.
Understand.
Look at this. Yep, that should work. It's going to cut through all the bodies. So we're going to say cut through all the bodies. And that means it'll cut through this one, and through this little guy in the middle.
Okay.
Let's see if it works. Okay, it's like, you sure keep all the bodies? And you say, yes, I'd like to keep all the bodies. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
we test it. Go down here. Let's hide the knob. Oh, the suspense. Gosh, the delay. There she is. So that's how you do that.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And also, Jim, I have another problem when I making this three-dimensional logo on my what's that called? The end of my tube. No.
Not that one. Okay.
Tube one. Yeah, the knob.
This. Oh, okay. Okay, let's go back to that. Yeah. Yeah. This thing.
That way. Another way.
Oh, other side?
Yeah.
This side. Okay. All right. What's up with this thing, huh?
So I was thinking to use the offset, but my system, like on my computer, the system will just nothing showed up. I don't know why. But I do actually made a successful tool on both sides.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your
So I was thinking, is that my problem or the file's problem?
I don't know. Can you say the question again? I think something went weird with your camera. Or
Oh.
microphone.
I was trying to make the three-dimensional logo by using the offset feature,
Okay.
like right here. But my system would not allow me to do that step.
Okay. Let's look at it in its own file. I mean, let's see. So you've got a boss extrude that's going, that's creating the logo. And it's
Yes.
just like we did in class. And so I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking like you use the offset like the regular, just like what we did on the both side.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Offset, nothing showed
Yeah.
up.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is the right way to do it on this part. I'm not sure if this is if using offset here is the right. The reason why we do a boss extrude off of a face is because the flat face. Okay, and so when you have a flat face, you can tell the boss extrude to use the flat face as a plane to work off of. But
Okay.
if you try to do this trick on the side here, let me show you guys an example. So let me exit out of this. Okay, so let's pretend I said, let's do a raised logo on the side of this tube, right? That would not work because it's not flat. It can't work as a plane. So if I make a sketch here, and let's just say I make a circle, and I want you guys to, you know, maybe say, I said, let's do a boss extrude, and, you know, you want it to use this plane as the, oh God, it's gonna work, damn it. That's annoying.
Okay.
All right,
No
well,
problem.
it shouldn't
There's
work. It shouldn't work, Mo. I was gonna say it might stick out, but it's not gonna capture the surface. That's
okay. But can I still using the offset?
You can, yeah, you can still use it. Yeah, if that works.
Okay.
Strange that this is working. That's cool.
Is that new feature on 2020 version?
It could be. It could be. Yeah, this is what happens when you teach SolidWorks for 7 years. The program keeps getting better, but
Ooh.
my advice gets old.
Got it.
So
Yeah, let me try that later.
yeah, I wonder if we had done something complex like this logo here, if it would work still. I don't know. Anyway,
Actually, it didn't work for me for some reason.
it didn't work for you,
Yeah.
Harish. The offset or
Yeah.
the
The extrude say the face.
okay, yeah. I don't think it should work. This is an anomaly to me. I'm surprised that worked. I think it's because we just used a plain circle, and that's like the easiest example you could come up with. I bet if it was a square or something, it would act differently. But I'm not going to test it because I'm tired of being wrong. Okay. Well, any other questions, Mo, before we get back to?
Well, just by the what you did for the renew updating version of your products binoculars, how can we make the let me see, how can we make the little ring?
This?
No. In the knob, in the center of the knob, the little
Oh.
ring. Yeah. Is that normally we drew a circle and give a second?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so like we were saying with Sylvia's file, yeah, you know, I did it 2 different ways. I did it like this. So the good thing is, since these are flat faces, you can work right off of them. So I make a sketch on this. No, not like that. Exit. Edit this part. Yeah, so I would make a sketch on this flat face.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah. I'm sketching. I did it one way where I actually drew both circles. I drew one really fast, and then I drew a second one really fast. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna draw 2 circles in one sketch, and then I'm gonna do the boss extrude. And I'm gonna tell the boss extrude, select contours, and then I zoom in and I select area between the 2. And that gives you, oops, sorry, yeah. That gives you this.
A space.
Yep. And that'll give you, you can set it to something really small, like 0.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I thought we should use the second tool.
right. Well, so this is the thing. So after I did it a few times like this, I got lazy. And so then I was like, you know what? I should just use the thin feature. Remember thin feature?
Thin feature.
So I'm going to go back to this sketch. Right now, the sketch is 2 lines. So I'm going to edit the sketch and I'll take one of the lines out like that. Remember what I told you guys about if you draw a straight line and you try to do a boss extrude on a single line, you can turn on thin feature. So watch this. So I'm going to, with this sketch is active, I'm going to go extruded boss base. Okay. And it starts out like that, right? Like a big plug that's going to break everything. But if you look at the property over here, there's also thin feature. So this is where thin feature comes in handy. You can turn on thin feature and you can see what it does. It starts out looking like a big fat donut like this. But then you can change it down to 0.25 or 0.5. I think I had it at 0.5, right? So it takes that single line and it thickens it and gives you whatever this dimension is the thickness of this kind of wall. So it saves you the trouble of drawing an extra line.
Okay.
And gives you the same effect. See that same effect?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So
So Jim, finally, do we need to kneading all the things?
knitting surfaces is only when you have surfaces. This is all solids work now. These are all solids.
Okay.
Yeah. We're done with knitting now that we finished this main piece up here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And don't forget, you can check that in your files too. You can always go up to any one of your files here and you can check solid bodies and you can see all your solid bodies.
Mm.
And you can also see the number of surface bodies as well. So your file's done correctly because the only surfaces you have left are those original construction surfaces we used way back in the day for the boundary surface.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But another tip for everybody too, a tip I didn't realize until I exported my file. So Mo, your file looks a lot like mine. It's like a lot of solid bodies. Mostly because these logos all show up as individual pieces. Like, look at this logo up here. If I run my mouse over see how each one of these little pieces of the logo is its own body?
Yeah.
That goes for all the bodies in here and everything. So you can go in here and you can name these bodies if you want. And then when you get them into KeyShot and you look in the scene tree of the part you bring into KeyShot, these will act a lot more like layers. So you just click once on a solid body and say like logo piece like 1. It's a lot of work. You have to decide if you want to do this. If you color your items with appearances here in SolidWorks and then bring them over to KeyShot, you can get away with not having to name stuff. But if you want to be able to identify all the individual bodies in KeyShot, you have to name them here in SolidWorks. So here's a good one. This half of the model is 1/2. So I might want to name this like the left half of the model, you know. That's just me. It's up to you, you know. It's your decision. But I just want you guys to know you can name these things, and whatever you name them here in SolidWorks, they'll come over to KeyShot with the same.
Okay. Okay.
Honestly, in my personal work, I don't name files. But if I know that I'm going to be working with an engineer or another designer, especially if I know I'm working with another CAD designer, somebody who's really good at CAD, that's when I go and name all my stuff really complex and make my work look good. So, I mean, you guys are kind of in that situation right now where you're turning in work for a grade and you want to make your work look as professional as possible. So, you know, maybe just give a couple of key names to a couple of key pieces so that you can show me that you have that skill, and I'll give you credit for, okay, I'll check the box. Okay, they know how to do that. Good. And then just remember that it's like in your personal work, it's okay to let it slide, but you always want to make your work look as good as possible when you're sharing with other people. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Okay, cool. So this looks good. Any other questions? I think we all kind of learned a lot.
No, no.
Mo, I think that these things, they look okay, Mo, but I think you could make them look cooler. You know, I think when you get this into Keyshot, you're going to look at these sidebars and you might want to redo them. You know, I'm not sure how you made these. Is it just an extrude or?
I only use one surface, like one plane. I know you used two plane and made a different size of the circle.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, you got mirror? These are running off mirrors? Let's see.
yeah, those are mirrors. So I was did in the bottom, yeah, in the bottom side, and then
Uh-huh.
I mirrored it up.
Oh. Oh, you drew them down here and mirrored them up here?
Yeah, I was made around steps.
Let's see what you did. Oh, because you were following along in class and I built mine upside down. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, well, don't be like me, okay? Okay, guys. All right, I get that. I mean, I screwed it up, but I fixed it in my file. Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
I
It
would.
might look okay. It might look okay, but I just want you to be ready. Like, if you put this in a key shot and it doesn't look amazing, then that might be like one of the things that might make it look a little cooler. Let's turn on all the tools here and see what we get. Yeah, they look a little bit, they just look a little bit intense, you know? They're like, look at me. I think,
Yeah, let me try the two plane way.
yeah, yeah, it might be something you want to tone it down a little just for your portfolio, you know?
No problem.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right.
So Jim, I should work on my original file, right? Original circle, the three straps.
Yeah, work on your original file.
And then the mirror will comes out in the correct way.
That's right. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you have to go back to the first step before
Okay.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, let me try that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's see. Um, who else wants to go? Where are we? Chloe, are you up to jump in here? You want to go next?
Yeah, I'm here. And can you open my file on your computer?
Sure. We'll keep going. Did you email it to me today?
Yeah, I sent you a new one.
Just now?
Yeah. Maybe
R2.
half hours. Yeah, R2. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got it. All right, cool. So let's see. These are your files, right, Chloe?
Wait. Each one.
These are all your files? Let's see.
Yeah.
This was the thing I got from you.
I think I
R2,
sent you
right?
a new one. Yeah, this one.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is the only thing that I noticed. This one part here has a very funny name. It's called, you know, binoculars R1 ASM.S solid assembly plus solid part. Like the last one is all we need. You can rename this part to take out this
Okay.
this. That's kind of confusing. Okay, because
Okay.
yeah, that's open this up and we'll see what we get. So it's
yeah.
missing eye cover. Do you have that one? See.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I didn't send you the eye cover?
Didn't look like it here. Let me.
Uh,
I don't think eye cover's in the mix with the assembly file.
Oh, so should I need to send you again? the eye cover.
Well, yeah. Are you using Pack and Go out of your
Oh
assembly?
yeah, yeah. I use Pack and Go. Why it didn't work? Wait. Let me send you again.
Yeah, well, you can show it to me.
Oh,
Let's just see what happens. I want you to watch here because so I always get this warning about instructional use only. Then let's see. Summary for SolidWorks, ASM. One files were suppressed. So the iCover is not in here, okay? So
mhm.
you don't need to resend it to me. I just want you to know, like, this is what happens when you guys, just for everybody, like if you send an assembly that doesn't have all the parts included, the part just disappears on my side. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
it looks funny. Luckily for you, the iCover is a really simple part, and I believe that you know how to make it. So I'm not going to criticize you too much on it.
Mhm.
Worry. Um,
Okay, so the question I have is in the middle part of this. Because I cannot make the mirror for the middle part for some features.
this
Mm,
here.
oh, oh,
What's the question?
the middle part. No, the um,
Oh, the mirror. The
yeah,
mirror is this whole piece doesn't come across.
yeah, cause at the beginning I used the whole part. Cause do you remember that I told you I cannot make the cut extrude for the half part. So I use the whole part and then I can make the cut extrude. So I beginning with the whole part. So now for some features, I cannot make the mirror. So to have some solution, mm,
You got a tough one, Chloe. Oh boy. Okay, so let's see. So there's this edit feature. Is this a boss extrude?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh no, what is this? This is the um
thicken.
uh
This is
thicken.
thicken.
Yeah, thicken. Yeah.
Okay. So I think, let's see, this button here, thicken with merge on, will bring this piece into the rest of it. So let's try that.
Mhm.
Did you try this?
No, I didn't try the merge result. You see, it cannot work. Um,
Let's see here. First, I'm going to try it this way and see what happens. That'll break everything. Okay. See, I can break files even if they're in Chinese. Yeah, that's going to freeze my computer for just a sec.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. What do we do about this? This is tough. Um, you got, okay, so these are all your logo pieces.
Mhm.
I'm just going through the solid bodies to try to identify which is which. Logo piece.
This is all the logo piece, I think.
All right, so this is the main body, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then these pieces are all separate.
This is the fillet. For the
These pieces. These are all swept surfaces, and they're not merged into the rest of the body.
mhm.
Okay, okay, cool. So I'm going to try to do something like this. I'm going to use this tool that's called Combine. Have you tried Combine yet?
Oh no, I didn't try combine.
So I'm going to take these pieces, which are all separate, and I'm going to combine them into this main piece so that this whole thing is one big single body, like that. Okay. And this is going to be the only problem, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's what I want to do. I'm going to try to do the cut and the mirror again now.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go here, start up a sketch on here. You're going to have logos on both sides. You see, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's less work to, I'm gonna take corner rectangle. I think it's less work to just cut the whole model in half right now.
Mm-hmm.
And say through all both directions. All right. And then do another mirror with this thing being the face and the plane. Okay, clear. This the face, and then bodies to mirror. And you take this whole body across. All right. So that's your solution right there. Is, you know, you want it, you can cut the whole thing in half and just do that. But what I would say would be a better idea. See, you've got this logo now is on both sides. That's
Yes.
a little weird. And then also you've lost the logo here. So,
Uh-huh. Oh, maybe I can do the logo again. It's
there you
okay.
go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, totally. You can do that logo again. And then over here on this thing, I would say you probably have to do this logo. You'd have to take this logo off and then redo it again on just one side.
Ah, okay, for sure.
Yeah.
It's okay. I can do it again.
Yeah. But that's okay. That's not too much work. It's good to practice that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, it's not too much work.
yeah.
I don't need to do the whole thing again. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So you got that?
Okay, thank you. And I will try that.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna save. Dude,
Uh,
we'll let you figure it out. That's the class. So another thing that I'm just noticing on your file also is this is upside down. This logo is upside down.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you have something like this that's upside down and it's on its own part file, you can spin it around in the assembly file.
Mm-hmm.
So your options for this are you can go in to the DXF logo file and you can flip the logo upside down. That's option 1. That might not be too hard. Let's take a look. Edit part. If I click on the logo, here's the logo. Here's your sketch. Here's your, okay, let's edit this. Here's the, this thing is really inside there, isn't it? Okay, let's see. I want to get into the block itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not letting me in. Hold on. Let's see if I can edit the block. Edit block. I'm waiting for this to change over here and it's not. Is this thing blocked, do you think?
Yeah.
It should be. It looks like it from the logo here.
Yeah, it is blocked.
Okay, well, we want to flip it upside down. I'm going to explode the block, which means you change it back to a sketch from a block. You just do that? There you go. And then I'm going to do the whole process again. Okay. Block. Okay. And then once you have the block selected, you get the properties for the block over here. And we should take this here and just go 180, flip it upside down. We'll probably need to reset it. It doesn't like this. Kind of makes SolidWorks angry. Pull it back over. be careful for this. See what's going on here, like how just the tips of this are touching the fillet almost.
Mhm.
Careful it doesn't overlap there.
Mhm.
And so then I'll just approve that and exit, and it should rerun. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that needs to happen. You need to flip that logo over.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Then if you don't do it that way, then the other way to do it is here in the assembly file. There's move component here, and then there's rotate component right here. But you only see these tools when you're out in the main assembly. If you edit any of these sketches, they go away. So
Mhm.
when you're just in the main assembly, you can go to rotate component.
Mhm.
A little weird. So you have to select the item you want to rotate,
Mhm.
and you have to kind of select it first. It doesn't select itself. It's an odd tool. So you click the thing in the tree, but you don't open it or edit it. You just click it like this, and then you
Okay.
rotate component, and then you change it from free drag down to delta XYZ.
Mhm.
And then you have to look at this little arrow thing here, okay? You got X, Z, and then Y is the green one. So you have to
Ah.
think about it like you think about this part like you're going to stick a skewer through it. You know, you're going to stick a stick through it and spin it around the stick. So the green stick, if you stick it through there, that's like the axle of a wheel. It'll spin around that wheel. So,
Mhm.
okay, the y-axis is the one I want. So you go here to the y-axis and you go 180,
Mhm.
and it flips it upside down. See that?
Yeah.
But it moves it off its position a little bit. So you have to reset it.
Mhm.
This piece floating? No, it looks like it's locked.
Yeah.
Said fix. It should be floating, but it's got a mate on it maybe? What's going on with this thing? Why won't it move? Oh, there we go. So you can just manually put it into position right there.
Mhm.
That's kind of dangerous, you know, it's not centered or anything like that. You know, I would punch a hole through this thing and then set it with a mate. So let me show you guys how to do that. So let me see here. Since I wanted to talk to you guys more about mates anyway. Let's say you've got this circular piece hanging out way over here. What I would do here is I'd go to the main body here, and I would edit it. And hold on, I'm getting, hold on, we'll get there. Okay, here we go.
Sorry. It's
That's
hard.
okay. No, that's okay. I just wanted to show you guys about something that's called, you know, the concentric mate is this tool that we use in assemblies to line up circular things. So I'm just going to punch a big ugly hole right through the middle of your model here. And Mo's looking at this going, oh, well, that's all you have to do to put a hole through the middle? No, Mo, your hole is way better. So okay, so with a circular hole here and then a circular item here, we can exit, and then you can add a mate that mates this circular tube to this circular hole. See that? And then no matter which way this thing goes, it'll always stay in line with that hole. So that way,
Wait, Jim, can you redo that mate?
yeah, sure, sure, sure.
You went really fast on that. I missed it.
I know, and it flipped around on me too. I'm gonna do undo. Okay. Oh Lord, what just happened?
Maybe you shouldn't have done that.
Oh my God. How do you say redo?
Mhm.
Let's see. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's a bad idea. I think what sucks is I think it'll still work. Even with the thing all fatty like that.
Mhm.
The thing is, the mate that you're trying to get is called concentric. See it right here. Is this Nico? Am I talking to you, Nico?
No, it was Ulysses.
Oh, Ulysses, sorry. I'm not watching the Zoom. Um, if you hit this button, that'll turn on the concentric mate tool. But also, if you just touch a cylindrical object, it automatic, and then another cylindrical object, SolidWorks is smart enough to know, okay, these are two cylindrical things, so I'm going to put a cylindrical mate on them, and it merges them and it mates them together. See, here's this little pop-up that shows up that shows you what type of mate it is. There's perpendicular, there's parallel, concentric. So if your two items that you're trying to mate together are cylindrical, SolidWorks will figure it out on its own. But you might need to actually hit the concentric mate button to predefine the mate, and it just snaps back into place. How could I have screwed this thing up so much by just hitting undo? I don't know. Like, maybe I grabbed the sketch or something? Ulysses, does that help? Is that slow enough for you? You got it?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, thanks.
Definitely don't do whatever I did to this poor thing. God, I'm not going to fix it. I think we all understand that that's wrong. So, and I won't save this either, Chloe. You can do all this stuff on your own. But
Okay.
yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to slowly back away from this file. And yeah, you guys are on your own. So, okay, cool. All right, let's have somebody else go. Who's up next?
I have some problems. Maybe I can show it to you.
All right, problems. Love them. Let's see. You want to share your screen? Can you share with us?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, you see, this one model.
Yeah.
And especially I was like trying to like, I have problems only with the logos. See, there's like something weird going on in the center, and this is my Illustrator file. Uh, as far as the Illustrator file looks fine to me. I don't know, what do you think?
It's good, but what's that center circle going around? Is that the one for the text?
Yeah, that's for the text.
Okay. How did you center the text on the circle? That looks good. Sorry.
Yeah, I said like YouTube tutorial.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, send us that link, Hirsch.
Yeah, for sure. And this looks fine to me over here, but when I like import it in, like it goes like very bad, crappy.
Oh,
And
geez.
yeah, I don't know why is that. Always happens to my like when I'm importing logos. Yeah, and even this is weird.
You mean the spacing on the logo itself? The line work is
Now
uneven.
you see this? It's filled with a appearance, right? But there's nothing like a
Oh,
solid body. You see what's going
I
on?
see it. Yeah. Oh,
I don't know why it
that's
happens.
weird. Did you put it in Keyshot yet?
No, I haven't.
You got Keyshot?
Yeah, I got, but like now I can't put it because my if I open Keyshot, I gotta use a VPN and my internet will be disconnected.
Okay. Okay, don't do that. Um, I hate the answer, but I don't know. That the logo thing looks like a glitch. It doesn't look right. Have you, I mean, just changed around the shader settings a little bit, like maybe take the outlines off? I mean, I'm sure you've tried that.
Yeah, this one looks fine actually. This model fine. Everything is fine except this over here. I've tried like a couple of times, still it's not working.
How about when you open that part file in its own part file? Does that still look strange?
Yeah, it's still the same, I believe.
It's really strange that the text is
Oh, sorry. I opened
not showing
Yeah.
up in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Are you noticing anything when you bring the text in the DXF file? Is it extra large or extra small and you have to scale it up and down or anything like that?
Yeah, I scaled it down, but not like it's not like crazy big. It's just like a little bit. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So what about like if you do a really simple object in Illustrator, like a circle or a square, or do you know, just some basic shapes? This is always my technique for when I'm having strange issues that don't seem like they should be happening. You just dumb it all the way down to like using primitives, you know, draw some triangles and some squiggly lines and then bring those in as a DXF. And it maybe not on your golden file here, but you know, just to test the system a little bit and kind of tease out the issue and find out if it's Illustrator or if it's SolidWorks, you know. That might be
Yeah.
one move you could try out.
Yeah, I'll do that. I haven't done that. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
give a try of this. Yeah. And also like here, I was able to like put the logos over everywhere, but on this plane, I'm pretty sure it's a flat plane. I'm not able to put a logo on it. It's just not accepting it.
Can you zoom way in on it? Is there a double line or something? You see how there's that little like stepping, that like kind of these diamond shapes around that edge? Yeah, what's going on there? That
It's
kind
just
of
fill it.
work. Does it fill it? Huh,
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know. I mean, you can check to see if it's a flat plane by maybe zooming up and looking at it from straight down, like bird's eye view. See if it looks perfectly flat.
Or like,
An easier way, just right click on that surface and see if you can make a sketch on it. If you can't, then
yeah. Yeah, because I'm not opening the part. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, but I can make a,
because usually if you try to draw on a non-planar surface and flat surface, it'll just say edit sketch instead of sketch.
yeah, it just says sketch. Yeah, that's why I opened the sketch.
Okay, so then if it's not working, then if it's not working in that way where you start to extrude off the flat surface, then maybe just put a plane right in front of that surface and then extrude onto the surface. And
Okay.
yeah, as a plan B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why it's not, I don't know why it's not working, but you might need to force feed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. I'll give it a try. Sure.
Yeah. Because this happens, you know, sometimes, you know, stuff just doesn't work and you have to think of a strange workaround, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Every time I have like, even for the Bose logo, I don't know if it's my SolidWorks file or something like that. Every time I have some problems with like, I'm like importing DXF file.
Yeah. I wish there was I wish there was a different way to do it. I mean, I know, you know, we've talked a little bit about how Rhino can take straight AI files, which is nice because you get a native file in your CAD program and it doesn't have to get converted to anything else. Um, I mean, I'm guessing here, I've never had to do this on my own, but I think in a pinch you could do like a 3D logo in Rhino as a little tiny step file and then just bring it into to an assembly in SolidWorks and place it in the model, and that would work. If this was a paid job, like, and you wanted to, and you had to hit a deadline, like that would be another idea would be to use Rhino instead of SolidWorks. If SolidWorks really just wasn't playing along and you needed something done. As far as class goes, like here we are talking about it. I get it that you've picked up the technique and attempted to do everything exactly correct, and the program's not following suit. So I wouldn't stress too much about it. But yeah, get it into Keyshot and test it out and see what it looks like in Keyshot. And then let's keep talking about it. Maybe you've sent me your file. I know you sent it to me right before class. I saw that. I think you were one of the first people to send me today. So I'll take a look at it on my end and see what's up. Anything else weird going on? What's up with the little tiny logo on the green bar? Is that?
You see this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to see over even for here. I was able to put this logo here, and I thought of like putting a rectangle and
Uh-huh.
do extrude the extrude surface. I was not able to do that. The surface was not accepting, but I was able to do this graphic.
Okay. And it's interesting too. Look at how in the center of the O is it green as well, or is it gray?
It's gray actually.
Yeah, so that's an odd thing. It should be green as well. If you so did you do an extrude off the surface?
Yes.
Yeah, that should be green. Is it a separate body? Did it show up as a separate body?
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's like each and everything is a separate body. I think so.
Okay. I'd say yeah. Send me your file. Keep playing around with it. Well, I wonder if it's going to act differently on my computer. Do you know anybody else that you could share files with that you could like besides me? I mean, it might be worth it to send it to a friend. Because the other thing is, too, the icons on your design tree, the blue boxes, and then even the appearances that you've added, those icons look different than they do on my computer. So there's a few strange things going on your computer. Yeah. So one piece of advice I give you is get your naming structure set up correctly on each of these parts. Because now that I'm looking at your design tree, I noticed that like some of your stuffs are named like part 1. There's 2 part 1s. That what is that, a mirror maybe? I don't know, but like make sure you're naming your parts correctly.
Yeah, I'll do that. That's
Yeah.
bad. I know. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. And then you got a little bit more work. What's up with these little stripes? You gonna get those? Are they melded into the rest of the body? Are they joined in there? Or?
It's like it's not merged. It's separate.
Okay. But did you mirror them?
Yeah, I mirrored them over here.
Okay, so you got to use the combine tool to join those pieces into the rest of the body also.
Oh, these things? Okay.
Yeah. If you want to put a fillet on them, that's why you join them in. You know, you don't have to. You can put them into Keyshot as separate pieces, but you won't be able to put a fillet on them, and they're going to look like they're just sitting there. You know, they're not going to look as clean as they could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the benefit. That's the benefit is you get that slick looking fillet helps them blend in, and just when you blend them in with the fillet, they kind of drop away a little bit. They don't look as pronounced and they don't look as in your face. So.
So when I'm combining, like you want these whole set to be one and these whole set to be one, right?
Yep. That's best. Yeah. It saves you time in Keyshot because when you join everything into one body, then when you put it into Keyshot, you'll get the ability to drag and drop materials onto the bodies. As many bodies as you have, that's how many times you have to drag and drop. So if you have, 10 bodies, that's 10 times you have to drag and drop. If you only have 5 or 4, then you don't have to work as hard. It's easier for you.
Yeah.
And then you can spend more time on making the thing render well as opposed to trying to get the materials to land right on it.
Yeah, sure.
So get that done. Everything else looks pretty much okay. You still got to put the logo on the front of the post and everything like that, but maybe you just got kind of held up on that, on the logo on the back. I would just keep trying it, like get some new planes in there, and if my method's not working, then extrude into the surface, like I said, and I'd say that'll get you started.
Yeah. So if I extrude into the surface, how it's gonna get the same what do I mean, like the same curve?
Well, for this one, the one on the green stripe, that one is going to be a little bit different. I mean, that's not going to follow along with the surface. So
Yeah.
you gotta work that a little bit more to get it to work if you want that to flow. For the center pin or the center tube, that front
Mhm.
one, yeah, for that one, I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, that will be
That's,
fine.
it's close enough to flat that it'll look right when it
Yeah.
finishes. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I saw that you emailed me your file. I didn't get a chance to look at it beforehand. I will open it on my computer after class, and I'll send you any additional advice I got. But yeah, I think you're still on the right track. I think you just got some little glitchy things happening. So yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
cool, cool.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, good, good. Um, Ulysses, are you there? You got anything you want to show off today? You got it?
I sent you my file. I'm on a second device right now. My pack and go is still not working, but I sent you a zip file. That's the manual pack and go essentially.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a trick to put that together. Let's see what you sent. Dun-dun-dun-dun. So what are you doing? Are you watching on iPad or something, or a different computer? What's your deal?
Yeah, I'm on an iPad right now.
Okay. I'm trying to get a gauge for what people are doing out there. You know, I'm pretty casual about class, so I don't really, ask what's happening. Let's see. So I got your zip file. If this works, we should be able to open it. All right, cool. You went straight to black on black. You didn't need to open Keyshot like I did. Nice. Let me share this. Yeah, it looks cool in black. I don't like the army green. Can you see this? Is this right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool.
I've already added more of the rest of the details, or not the rest of them, but some more details I've added already. Pretty much like the on the knob, like the other rings that go around the extrusions. Yeah,
Mhm.
that
Yep.
the like cut out the also the other logos. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's looking all good. I think kind of like my file, you've got like you've got a flat center. Like if you think back to Mo's file, he's got the big hump in the middle. His is like a lot more aggressive. Yours has got a different kind of a thin vibe going on. Like it dips down almost like this instead of
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, I noticed that when Mo opened up his file too. I was like, "Ooh, that looks nice. I should add some. I should fix that."
I know, but going back to fixing this surface is basically like going all the way back to the starting point. And I'm even too nervous to do it on my file. I'm too dedicated at this point. I'm like, maybe next one, maybe next time. I'm just pointing out that like, when you set up to do renderings and stuff and you're trying to pick colors and you're trying to pick I don't know, just when you're talking about the product in general, you just got to recognize the kind of the look and feel. Like for instance, this piece right here, this center piece, for the way that the body is thin in the center, this knob here is feeling too big. Like I don't know if you could dive back in on this revolve and thin it up a little bit, but proportionally, this thing looks just a little bit too fatty for the rest of the thing. I think you could probably suck this in a little bit. The thickness from here to here, if you pull that in a little bit, it might just make for a better setup. Do you see what I'm seeing? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's just the size of this center pin is almost feeling the same size as this, and so they're all three competing as opposed to this looking like it's an accessory.
Yeah, I kind of on the image, on the reference image, it kind of looked like it blended in almost, but also it was like, I think in the reference image, it's kind of bent, isn't it? Like bent together, so it looks like it's, I guess, beefier, that center knob.
Yeah, it could. It's a bunch of stuff going on at once in those images at this point. I mean, like I said at the start of class, we're kind of pulling away from what we see in the images, and just we're gonna just snap on our designer hat and just make this thing look good. So I'd say that's a
Yep.
good place to start. Um, as far as like you're down to the very last details. Like have you put this thing into Keyshot yet?
I actually have yet to do that, but I was going to do that tonight
Yeah,
since you
check it
mentioned.
out. Let's see. Let me edit this. If I just want to check some of the sizes of these fillets. So you've got a 1 millimeter fillet running around here, and it goes pretty much all the way over. Like you might find out that this fillet looks a little bit like I don't know, like puffy. And like one thing you could do, it's a curvature continuous fillet too, which is cool that it's working. So that's good. There's also the conic row fillet. That's this one here, which looks like it kind of breaks as maybe because it's just a little bit too big. Let's see if it's like works if it's smaller. Yeah, so conic row fillet, I think I talked about it in class last time, gives you the ability to sharpen your fillet into like from like almost like a look of a chamfer, or like you can also make it bigger so it kind of sharpens up and almost like if we go 0.75. Yeah, see this? So see how it kind of almost looks like it's just like a chisel tip or something like that?
Yeah, that looks nicer.
Yeah, that might be something you want to play with, just the different types of fillets that you have available here. Curvature continuous, I know I've been preaching about it all through class, so I'm not surprised to see that you used it. But, it's sometimes, just from an aesthetic point of view, kind of, just could be better. So this is one of those times. The thing about SolidWorks is like, it used to be that we didn't have curvature continuous. We didn't have any of these. We just had circular fillet. And the way that the circular fillet would work in SolidWorks is it was something called, it was G2 surface continuity. So you used to be able to see this kind of like straight line on products, like on actual products that were manufactured. You'd be able to see where the fillet started and ended on all the products that were made in SolidWorks. And so that was the thing that made people hate SolidWorks, was like you could spot a SolidWorks made product from a mile away because you'd see where the fillets were. And everybody used to talk smack. This is when I was in school in 2000. And so people started like manually building their fillets using the boundary surface tool. And then finally SolidWorks caught on to the fact that they need to add curvature continuous. So it's a lot more math that they have to write into the program, but it solved that problem. So along with curvature continuous, they added these two other ones, which just allow more customization to fillets. And it's nerdy, but once you
We have yet to use the conic radius, right? I don't think
I haven't touched it yet. No,
yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't use it. I'll admit it. But anyway, so I just broke your fillet. Or there it is. Yeah, let's see. So let's see if we go like this, and then we go like this, and we throw the shadows and everything on here. It doesn't look bad. You see how it's catching that light? No, it does not look bad. But could look better, It's one of those things. It's your call.
Yep.
Oh, let it ride. But yeah, I mean, yours is kind of the first one where it's like the aesthetic look of your design is kind of driving some of the decisions, These things look a little floppy, you could tighten those up. I mean, you've got such a sleek look and such a almost like it's like stealth vibe going on that I think you could maybe redo these so that they're either less or more. We've all seen them. We'll have it recorded now where they're at right now. If you and this goes for everybody too. If you feel like, you don't want to have 3 of them, you don't got to put 3 of them. We know you did 3. Now you can back off and do 2 or 1 or 20. It's up to you. We're kind of taking the reins off in class here. So the fact that you've got 1 straight one curved one, and then another one that's kind of both straight and curved, just think it over and see if you've got it in you to get that in and maybe fit it into your workflow. So you didn't get the double logo there. Is this a separate part? Are you keeping this?
I just fixed it, so now it's a separate part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But also, I was having trouble getting the double, pretty much the double effect with the offset. I don't know why it wouldn't let me. I kept trying it and just would not let me.
Yeah, it's in the video and it's a pretty lengthy sort of process. I think what I did is, I put a plane out here and then converted entities to get the line work onto the plane, then offset those and pressed it back onto the model. If it's not working, I was going to say it might be something to do with the logo itself, but yeah, you just got to get the offset right, and it's a microscopic offset. It's like 1/8 of a millimeter, or maybe even 1/16 of a millimeter. But it needs to land on this flat surface or on this kind of planar surface in order for it to work. I just say keep trying. If you need to go back to the video and check it, you can. But yeah, that's it's a small little detail, but it'll end up looking really cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely retry it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. You've got these pieces are mirrored in the real part. One of them's flat. Are you thinking you want to redo one, or is this?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to end up redoing that as well.
It's
I
just
accidentally mirrored it and then forgot that that piece was there, so
yeah, I
just
know.
kept it and then kept going.
It's one of those things. It'll only stick out when you have your work lined up against everybody else. No one else will know. Okay, cool. All right. Well, yeah, just patch up this gap too. This gap's looking pretty fatty. Like if you get this into KeyShot, you might see this a little bit more. Like you'll have actual light and shadow bouncing around in there and coming out. It'll look like a gap between your teeth or something like that. It'll stick out. So always with part lines, it's like the less is more, So you might be prepared to come back in on that. If that's a cut extrude or something, you might need to go again on it. Cool. Okay, any questions or anything, or you just keep plugging away?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions yet.
Okay. All right, yeah, well, homework is to get this thing dialed and to do 3 test renders, so yeah, that'll be, like you start the first one, you redo a bunch of stuff, do second one, looks really good, and just do 1 third one just to make me happy, and then we're good.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we're moving on down the list. Gosh, we got Harsh done too. Who else got Nico? Are you up to?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay, perfect.
All good?
Yes.
Yep, so this is mine. Kind of changed some things up. I kind of went with a style like this for the side little lines or whatever, just because I liked how they looked a little more. But that's just personal preference. And then this logo, for some reason, just didn't want to hop on right on here. It kept giving me an error code saying like it couldn't understand the dimensions, and that might because I remember like we did the split for the mirror, so it might be confused as to what direction it's going, but I still kind of like it right here anyways. I think it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks okay. Yeah.
And I have all the logos everywhere on the back and stuff as well.
Nice. You got kind of a Desert Storm vibe going with the sand color and everything.
I'm trying to go for like night vision goggles with like green lenses and stuff.
Okay, cool. Nice. All right, and then kind of like Ulysses, also you got the slope in the center instead of the raise up.
Yeah,
Portions look better though. The portions on that center pin seem to be a little bit better. Like if you look
right,
at it from the top
right
down.
here.
Yeah, it's somehow that just that thing just. Well, I was going to say on the top twist knob. That
Oh,
same pin. Yeah, yeah, up there. Yeah. Yeah, cool.
mhm.
And then looks like you got like a little chamfer on the logo, on the circle logo, the oval one.
Which one?
That one.
Right here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just it's more of a like big fillet, but
Okay.
it did kind of turn out to be like a chamfer.
Did you put this in Keyshot yet?
Yeah, I have. I don't have any renders yet, but yeah, I've been putting in Keyshot pretty much every like time I updated something just to see how it looked.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, like with that one little oval logo you were just showing us, I wonder if that sharp edge reads as a sharp edge, or if it could look better if it had a little micro
Like
nano
right here.
fill just around the kind of crater, around the
Oh, right here.
yeah, like on the top edge where it's because that's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like that's
I
the
can
one.
see
Yeah,
it.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just if it's that's the tiniest little detail you could think about, but
Mhm.
if it catches a little sliver of light, it might look super cool.
Yeah. I also couldn't get like any of the fillets to work on the logos for some reason. Like
Ah, yeah.
I had the back one working, right? But these two pieces just wouldn't want to run right for some reason. And I tried different like curvature, continuous, and stuff like that, but I still have to like figure out why that's messing up. So this is as far as I could get, and I didn't want to spend like too much time trying to, you know, figure these things out because I had other stuff to work on. So kind of
I
just had
know.
them placed in, and then I'll figure them out later.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
also had a lot of trouble with that, and I even had to, you know what it is? It's the serifs that stick off of this font or this logo. The little tight, sharp points are so tight that the fillet tool doesn't want to run around them. So I was
Yeah,
taking, that's when I put the it was 0.05 millimeter fillet, the smallest fillet I've ever used, on the points to round them off just ever so slightly. I knew it was going to be so small that you wouldn't be able to see it, but at least get the fillet to run around the rest of the letter. Um, Honestly, though, if you could take the blur tool in Photoshop on your rendering and zoom in on the few pixels that are there and just rub that
flip
out.
it out.
It's
Yeah,
that's a total trick. If this is a production piece and your boss was yelling at you about that logo, then you could spend a day on it and get it right. But in this sort of situation, design communication, you're trying to communicate the design. It doesn't need to be down to the level that I had put into getting the logo right. I
mhm.
think I even have a couple of bits of the logo that I didn't get to work. So that's all good. This logo is tough because it's so pointy and sharp, and anytime you
Yeah,
have those pointy bits, it's always tough.
that is very true. And then,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess yeah. Overall, I'm just pretty much trying to figure. Like, do you think it looks okay right here, or do you think I should really try to get it on this little portion?
If you wanted to do that, gosh, I'm realizing now that I had did it in a pretty unique way. Um, what I had done was I put a plane right over the top of the model, and then I took the edges of that raised bit and I did a convert entities to copy those edges. And then I blocked that off and made a little rectangle that followed along with that surface and then extruded into it. So I did it in a pretty complex way. I think it looks fine the way it is, but now that I'm remembering what I did, I think I'd be up to just put together a little quick video on how I pulled that off for the class. And you can decide if you want to go down that road or not, depending on time.
Yeah. And what do you think about like these little pieces right here?
those, I mean, how did you make them? That's my question.
Okay, so I kind of treated them like any other like logo. I think I made them on the right plane.
Okay.
So I first made this one, and then added like fillets to the the shape.
Okay.
And then I mirrored it across the front plane because there's a sharp like edge that goes along like through the middle of the front plane. So I got
Okay.
that to mirror directly across, and then this one. How did I make this one? Uh, I did something, but I know I think it was either on the right plane. Yeah, I think it might have been either the right or the front. Yeah, probably the right plane. And then I just put in probably like a line or something, a construction line to like get it to, you know, run straight through the middle.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I think I'm fine with it, but I think that the tricky part of what we did when we used the other way was, remember, we had put a plane through the surface, and then we did an intersection curve between the plane and the surface, remember? And that was like a technique that I kind of wanted you to just like walk through at least once, just so that you know how to put it. It's called curve on surface in Alias, and it's in Rhino it's called project, where you project a curve onto a 3D surface. But in SolidWorks it's intersection curve. It's one of the more like advanced things that I'm trying to kind of force feed into the class this semester for some reason. And so I just, I want to make sure that you got that.
okay.
Just maybe just skim back through the video and give it a try and see if there's an opportunity to use it somewhere. Because
I can even make like a separate version of this just with.
yeah, just something,
mhm.
just so you go through the motions, and if you come up against any problems on it, you can hit me up and I'll
Yeah.
walk you through it. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, good. But it's good for the class and everybody to see that like those details on the side, they don't need to be as hard as I made them.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good now. All right, good stuff. Okay, we'll keep going. And
Yep.
yeah, 3 renders might
Cool.
be closer than some others. All right. Who else is on the call that wants to go next? Are you good? Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm cool.
James, you joined us late. Are you up for it? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I actually just got here like 5 minutes late, so I've been here the whole time, but just kind of quiet.
Oh,
No, it's all good. I didn't know when my Wi-Fi would kick up anyway. Okay, yeah, I can share my screen.
James, are you last? Do we have anybody else that has to go? I think you might be it.
I am working on my coffee maker right now.
Oh, we could go down that rabbit hole, but let's start with the.
No. It's all good. Yeah, so this is my model. I kept the sides pretty straightforward like this. And then yeah, basically the only thing that I don't have in here yet is the words here, but everything else seems to be here and working just fine.
Those words were so annoying when I came to them. I was like, oh, when you're working in 3D CAD heavy and then you have to jump back over to Illustrator to do anything, you're just like, it feels like you're driving like a 1965 Pinto all of a sudden. It was so annoying because then after I did it and I was like, all right, that looks okay. Then my computer crashed and I lost it and I had to redo it. And I was so pissed. Ugh. Circular.
Yeah, I like had them and I put them in a block, and then they were just like too small, where like they were coming around like this instead of like following the arc perfectly. So that's but yeah, other than that, it seems all right.
Everything's looking really clean from like first impression style glance. Going back to complaining about circular text and stuff, I was looking at some other binoculars, not these ones, but they looked really, really cool because they had circular text on the inside of the eye covering, like the little blocker. Yeah, inside of there, it was like, it said Carl Zeiss. The Zeiss is like their
Oh, right, like a
lens manufacturer. Just the smallest little bit of type that said Carl Zeiss with like a little like dimension on, I think some call out for some dimensions. And oh man, I should add that into my file. And I still kind of have that in my head, but then I was like, oh, circular text. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's not chill.
Yeah. But I
Yeah,
mean,
so
for everybody, like if you're feeling like this is done, then I would just do a quick little Google search for like if there's such a thing as higher end binoculars. Or I know that this company Vortex makes like they make like sights for M16 rifles and a bunch of crazy stuff. I mean, if you really want to like nail the portfolio piece, you know, take it one step further than what I've shown in class, and just a little couple of bits of text or call outs or a button or like a, you could, James, you and I talked about doing a strap for, or doing a cord for your studio project. And then I was thinking about doing a strap for this because we have the strap holders in it. And I kind of meant to maybe even fold that into a class demo, but I'd rather let you guys out earlier. But did you ever get a chance to start that?
no, I haven't gotten a chance. I'm like, I can see myself having to send you an email for sure. Because like the instructions were like, okay, now I gotta remember how Rhino works. Um,
Oh yeah, don't forget.
yeah, so I'm gonna just try to figure it out because right now it just looks like a lumpy thing that does that basically.
Okay, yeah. Well, good. Any questions about this model? It looks good.
No, I'm good. I'm solid. I ended up hollowing out all of this stuff so that I could like, well, I have it going kind of in Keyshot. This is just some like fun thing I was doing for colors. But yeah, I was trying to figure out the glass as well. But
Okay.
I hollowed it out and was like testing to see through that there, which was kind of fun. But yeah, I'm pretty solid. I think I'm gonna render it a few times and see what happens.
Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Well, quick and easy.
Yep.
All right, good. Well, let me share my screen. Let me see if I can pull up my Keyshot file really quick. If I can give you guys an overview of what I had. I want to open file. I'm still here, guys. Hold on. Let's see. ASM renders. Where did I save my file? Graphics. Okay. Okay, can we all see this?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so this is my kind of final where I finished my render. I'm gonna pause it and just pull up the actual final render. So here's the final that I did out of Photoshop. So we totally ran out of time today, guys, and I mean that in the sense that I'm not gonna keep talking. I'm gonna let you guys out here in a sec, as opposed to doing any sort of demo. I'll do a quick recording for you guys on how to get the logo into the side piece here, and then I'll put together a recording too on these lenses. But yeah, so I ended up totally ditching the kind of candy coated like blue and purple scheme from before and just went like cool guy black and just made everything black. The only thing I did is I took a little gray, like a lighter gray on this logo and just made that gray while the rest of it's black. I also bailed on the texture for these raised areas. And then in the final, you can see also that I did drop down the raised areas quite a bit too, and also tightened up these side slivers as well so that they don't have that big kind of undercut that I talked about before. So over in Keyshot, I've got, as far as a environment goes, I just used this guy, which is what, like airplane hangar or something. Let's see, which guy is it? It's this one right here, Storehouse, I think, right? One of those. Or no, here it is right here, the outdoor sports hall. And then I just added like one extra little pin light just to add a little bit more light because I wasn't quite getting what I needed off of it. As far as the lenses go, I've got a material running, which is a standard solid glass. But then on the glass, I put a label. I put two different labels actually, which are both these Photoshop files that have this purple and blue and green kind of hue to them. I tried to make these things kind of the right size as they are in the actual SolidWorks file. So for me, my SolidWorks lenses turned out to be, I think, 50 millimeters across. And yeah, so here's my Photoshop. This is actually from a demo I did last class. But I mean, it's not anything too crazy. It's a bunch of different layers of like, you know, pinks and purples and just like a bunch of like, you know, kind of airbrush stuff with a circular marquee on it. And then I did add some like hard, sharp kind of cuts with the eraser tool to get sort of an eyeball style kind of look. And then a couple more just kind of almost like these are done with paths and just transparent like pieces cut out to just kind of get some sort of resemblance of like a reflection. And you see how it shows up in the final piece, like these cuts, they somehow don't read as what they are in Photoshop. They kind of look like something different. So it comes out looking pretty good. I did add a ground plane, and the ground plane helps a lot with the lenses. So the lenses look pretty weak when you put them on as a label, but then I put this ground plane on here, and the reflected light off of the ground plane actually helps bounce light up into the lenses and make them glow a little bit more. So if you go through the motions over the weekend of trying to make yourself custom lens graphics, and it's not working, if it's looking kind of weak like this, then a couple of tips I had for you is just go into the actual Photoshop file and then just jack up the brightness on the actual file itself and make it like really as bright as possible, because that'll help it kind of shine through the dark cavern that it kind of sits in. And really, it's the shiny ground plane that kind of helps the most. The other thing that I did that I hope you guys will get into the habit of here in this class and other, I put this occlusion material is what I have running on the ground plane. It's kind of just like a white ceramic material. It's here, let's see, occlusion right here. It's under the miscellaneous category in KeyShot. But what I've been doing for all these things is I've been going down to save to library. And then I actually made over here in my KeyShot library, I click on the main bar of materials and you go to add a new folder. And then that gives me a folder in my list of materials where I've been kind of stockpiling materials that I've been making along the way. So you can see here that I like started out with a really ugly army green color. Here's army green, and I didn't really like it. I have the army green texture right here, like I have it saved. And we'll just let this res up for a second so you can see kind of, it didn't look as gross in KeyShot as it did when I got it into Photoshop. Like it kind of looks better here, but anyway, you can just kind of see my sort of process. I was like, wait a minute, everything looks better if it's just all black. But that's just me. So please be yourselves. And if you prefer, you know, turquoise or whatever, any color is cool. Just have an explanation for it and make sure it looks good. Yeah, I think I was looking through like a Men's Health magazine and they were doing like the top 10 products of Christmas and everything was gray and black. And I was like, okay, maybe that's what I should do. As far as the environments, I don't think there's much else to show besides, you know, start to stockpile materials. If you spend a lot of time on a material, keep it, you know, and use it for something else. Other than that, I've got a white rubber material in here that I used the standard rubber tire material, and then I just colored it white. That's what I've got running on all my graphics. So all these things in here are all white rubber. I don't know if they are in the real product, but it's less shiny than white plastic. So I'd recommend playing around with that. The thing that I haven't fixed in my KeyShot file and I haven't done any renderings of is this side of the model. I did use the same glass as before. And this glass, the way this works is it's a glass material with a label. So if you want to edit it, you have to go and click on the label for the glass, add the label, and then down here, see, you go to move texture. And with the texture, you want to make sure it's set. Here we are at the top of label textures under this label. Make sure it's set to planar. It might show up as set to box mode, which is a little bit different. So I set mine to planar. And then when you go move texture, you'll get this box. And then from here, sorry, you can scale this thing up, or you can also move it right or left. You can see I can take it off the placement of the lens and it really doesn't do much. But once I slide it over, you can see that purple starting to come in. And so you have pretty full flexibility to kind of make the interior reflection what you want. I always go with this kind of purple and yellow theme, but there's a ton of other kind of reflective themes that are out there. And there's also these optic materials in the glass setting. Where is it? It might be under miscellaneous. Yeah, there's like soap bubbles, and anyway, there's liquids that you can play around with as well. And any glass material with a label on it will look good. I just like to have the control to kind of control what looks in here. So that's as much as I got for kind of the tips and tricks so far that I've figured out. Over the weekend, for myself, what I want to try to do is refigure out all the mates that hold all these pieces together. And I want to try to get a fully articulated SolidWorks model so I can bend these parts and kind of rotate them in place. Right now, if you try to move any parts of the model, it kind of either just operates completely as one, or it breaks apart in like a really kind of gross way. And so I definitely don't want that. I don't think it's too much more work to set a concentric mate on this center line and set up this model so that everything operates as it should. And I would like to get to that point with you guys, but it's not going to be a requirement for the class. But that's on my to-do list, not on yours. For you guys, just come up with 3 renderings and, you know, let's make them like as good as possible, you know, like this will be our best project in the class. So when we do our final and we have all of our products on one final render, this one's going to take a majority of the real estate of the page. So find the right camera angle, find the right light source, all that jazz. Get that stuff figured out and write it down and have it ready for when you start that final. For this file here, I did have a couple of custom camera settings. I have, of course, the free camera, but then I also really liked another view that's over here. Well, here's the one from the rendering I showed you at the start of class. Yeah, let me put this back together. Yeah, so this is the view that I kind of like the best because I put all this work into getting this thing to look right and stuff. So just don't forget about your little add new camera button. If you find like say, oh, this is the one I like best, then just go up here after you've set up the view and hit add camera, and you can give it a name and you can call it like best ever view, you know, whatever you want. And then when you save your file, that'll come along with it. So you could technically set up a Keyshot file that's ready to plug and play for your final and just have everything all set. You go, you reset the camera, reset the lights, and it's all good to go. The angles will be different depending on where your design's at. Mine's a pretty flat design like this, so that's why I'm taking this kind of like forced perspective view where I'm trying to kind of not show this off very much, but it'll be up to you on what you want. So there's also the option too, guys, to do exploded views if you want. Right here in Keyshot, if you feel like you want to do that. And don't forget that you've got an exploded view already in the PDF file that I provided from the Vortex company. So if you did want to add a couple more revolves or something like that, it's not too difficult. Add that kind of stuff into SolidWorks. Go down here to import and import the file right over the top, and you'll have this whole thing filled with, you can just add random little cylinders in there, doing a little exploded view, and it's like, no one question, they'll just, their brain says exploded view, and it's like, no questions asked. So, yeah. So that's where I'm at. I really appreciate you guys showing me where you're at. I am super excited. I was going back and forth with some text today with Corey Jones, and I was showing off the new project, and he and I are both super, he was excited to see that I had started up a new project for the DC3 class, and I made him the promise that you guys are coming in hot and looking really good, and so we're all just really excited to see what you guys come up with. So make sure to spend some good hours on this, and don't forget that Keyshot takes up a lot of time. So yeah, have fun with it and do your best. So that's where we're gonna leave the class right there. Sound good? Right?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, good stuff, guys. Well, keep plugging away. Good luck with it all, and keep in touch.
Will do. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jen.
Awesome.
See
All
you.
right. Okay, cool.
Have
Bye,
a good
guys.
night.
Yep.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
All right.
Bye.
Good work,
Thank you.
everybody.
All right.